Hi, everyone. I am taking over the Poetry in the Park. It's just my poetry now. No, just kidding. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for our August Poetry in the Park reading. We're thrilled this evening to welcome Ish Klein, Bryon Cherry, Edie Roberts, and Suzanne Rosenblatt. I'm Antonio Vargas Nieto, the Assistant Programming Director at Woodland Pattern in River West. So this season's events are made possible with generous support from Juneau Park Friends, the National Endowment for the Arts, and Village Church. Many thanks. For Poetry in the Park reading will take place, the next Poetry in the Park reading will take place on Tuesday, September 12th at 6:30 p.m. right here at Juneau Park. This will be the last reading for 2023 and will feature Mark Leidner, Chelsea Tedeschi, Francesca Kritikos, and me, Antonio Vargas Nieto. Before that, you should join us for our monthly open mic, Resound Return, hosted by me, Antonio Vargas Nieto. Resound Return takes place the last Friday of each month at 7 p.m. and the next last Friday is August 25th, so please join us. Visit our book table as well, right over here. We have copies of books by each of the poets reading this evening. We do not have Bryon Cherry's latest book, Death Moan, but we will have copies soon at Woodland Pattern, so please stop by. We are open for browsing 12 to 7 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday, closed Mondays. Pick up a copy when they're in. And as you likely know, or will soon find out, any books by Bryon is a must-have. So, I'm going to introduce Edie Roberts, our first poet. They are a poet and facilitator living in Detroit, Michigan. They are bookmakers who have been editing and publishing books since 2009 under the umbrellas of Plumberries Press, Pity Milk Press, and Bathmatics. They earned a master's degree in creative writing from Miami University, where they taught writing and composition courses and helped curate reading series. They have hosted readings and other events across the Midwest and are currently hosting a monthly series, A 27th Letter, in Detroit. Their own books include Thank You, Ain't Life Grand, Everywhere You Go, and others. See more at edieroberts.wordpress.com. Please welcome Edie Roberts.
Hey fam. Well, that's much louder. Is it louder over here or is it just loud? You're just not very loud. You're just not that loud, okay. It's a huge chasm. I love this walkway thing. That's cool, that's cool. It's funny to hear that that bio where it's real stuff, like real things you did or whatever. I never hear those things. I guess I did do those things. I went to school or whatever, like who gives a fuck. And here I am, in the park with y'all. Hey Kathy, what's up? Okay, yeah, here we go. Here's some poems. Thanks to Woodland Pattern. I appreciate you very much. Thanks, Antonio, for setting this up. I appreciate you and everybody else for hanging out. Ooh, that's a scowl. Which one? All of them. Okay, anyway, here we go. Fun, okay. The first three are from this series of poems that all start with the same line. You'll see how it goes. It's kind of about things just kind of happen to you. Like sort of like going to school. You're like, wow, I'm at school. And then you're like, oh, I'm out of school. That was terrible. Anyways. Okay, going on. All of a sudden, my brain is a cup spilleth over. We cheer the authoritarian exercise. YouTube bans something cringe. A dating profile reads, I'm very gay, meaning no conspiracy theorists. My hands slide along a rope moving swiftly into the ocean. An article reads, those under 40 will experience the worst of climate disruption. There is no relief. I'm like, what if the kids don't want to be warriors either? What if there are no selfless acts? What if celebrities and politicians exist to misdirect our vitriol? A man with nicer clothes than me asks for help getting something to eat. I calculate how much grace I am capable of, but realize the disadvantage guilt clouds the spreadsheet. Love is a strong word. Like we should all be crying right now. Like deer in the headlights have made a choice to live in a world of risk. In some alternate reality, men know how to apologize and mean it. You owe me an excuse that reflects your understanding of the situation. I grip tight that last ripping braid and follow the thread out to sea. All of a sudden, everything is performative again. A glass bowl lowers and distorts the distance between celebrity and the wealthy. We recognize ourselves on stage, on the screen, refusing to entangle unless with a sort of animalistic yet steadfast and true romance we are convinced is possible. To each, her fantasy of love and infamy, to each the ability to make a tiny life if it proves even slightly annoying. To each the ability to take a tiny life if it proves even slightly annoying. To each the spiraling stagnancy of emotional dieting. The body makes for great loathing. Project yourself onto yourself and cancel the nuance. This is a circus. If I get another email warning me about my associations with an unpalatable idea, I will punt my brain into the crystal blue above a photogenic teacup chihuahua. Edgelords are fucking boring. There is no pure language. Every symbol is a clown car. Everything is explosively simple. I'd like to hear your voice hear itself. I'd like to hear yourself think. One more from this series, thank you. And we'll keep moving, whatever. We never talked about time. You give me an eye. Okay. All of a sudden, I realize home is a place where no one asks me what I want. Anywhere I go, I invade. We move gracefully past each other in the party store. The world outside receives another paper bag, another shimmering plastic sleeve. The common problem. The nation makes it clear that care is not a functioning institution. It has to be tied in little bundles and lit for passage through the dark, then photographed for others to make myths about. It will rain. It will rain for 40 years in a single night. Slow canoe along the freeway in the morning. It will not rise to the level of syndicated news story. All the cities are flood. Kiss your fingers, lift and touch the overpass. I've been waiting my whole life for a motor that makes me hum. Mostly, I am trying to describe the feeling of disappointment that holds us all at knife point. I have learned to hold my tongue when I should be celebrating. It's hard to say congratulations when what I mean to say is good luck. Thanks. So different style here. Just poems, whatever. We're going from there. I'm so good at problems. Once on a dare, I put my body into bridge pose and let everyone in the room kiss me. There is a true story in my mouth, foaming up the mountain, knives in the kitchen, soft asleep. I give up. I hold a cup, and the faucet mouth coughs out a river healed with disinfectants. I increase the risk of malign growths by doing nearly anything. But there has to be a way to convince you. I don't mean any harm, even when I say, I don't care. A little mirror. I'm a problem. Every time I cross a bridge, I am thinking about how much I like the feeling of butterflies. The photograph, snapped by the roller coaster camera, shows a kind of bliss that wants to sleep forever. I clam up, hold my hands over my mouth, and let the secret suffocate. If I work hard enough, my dreams will come lumbering into the world like a mythic tortoise that reminds me this life is in sacrifice for the next. I'm not convinced. in the slow revolutions of justice. Or maybe more accurate to say, I can't see a way to get there from here unless to climb the railing and fly. This is about America. All these poems are about America, really. Okay, anyway. There is no fixing. My front tooth is chipping away, and I'm sure that means something is wrong inside of me, manifesting itself where my tongue can trace it. This is super weird. So when you're on Medicaid, right, and you go to the dentist and you're like, hey, my tooth broke off. I was eating a sandwich, it broke off, I felt it. And they were like, no, it didn't, it's not broken. I was like, what the fuck kind of like world am I in? It's broken. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, this is what you get. This is state-funded insurance. No one laughs. Y'all are a great crowd. I love it. I love it. Look at this moat. We can't laugh past the moat, right? All the jokes die in the moat. Okay. You're a sneaky bastard. Okay. Anyways. So that happened. Back to the poem. This is true as fuck. It takes more than guts to ask for help in America. It takes a sense of worthwhile that needs constant attention. I am laughing about midlife, like I'm sure that has come and gone by, anxiety surfing the whole time. When the singer asked what we thought at age 25, I thought my father died at 49. It's hard to think beyond that, Rosalie. So I make jokes. I make jokes about my body in mutiny, my mind like, whatever. But I don't want to make myself into a little button, crimped and pinned, holding it all together. Together, we can make a dent in a cop car if we stand in front of it and brace for impact. Thank you. Okay, I think we're looking at like two more. It's like a little bit longer. All good? Okay. Not like super fucking long, but you know. Sorry, my tongue. That's why no one hires me. Okay, cool. I don't write a lot of poems about being like gender is like a weird thing I like sort of do and sort of don't, but this is like really explicitly about sort of gendering, being in the world, like femme and in the world, whatever, the danger of that shit. You'll catch it anyways. I don't know why I get a front load. Draft. When I am walking, I am trying. Thinking hips first, like head a horse to a watering hole, watch it lap happily. I am thinking, gushing, crystal out. I am looking at a sun-ribboned mirror, thinking, explosions. Summer is the favorite consenting brutality. And if you succeed to lead your hips, the men tell you your legs deserve a mouth with big dicks in it. They are trying to be sweet, they say. A cackling spit glows and rotates. Do you need a ride? Do you need some help? Do you got a man? Do you have a means to? When I am walking, I am thinking how to be held against the giveaway of frame and what are the consequences of successful deceit. I am a body for a dumpster. I am a body made of confusion, and my delusion is a glint, blind, and mirrored antagonism. When I am walking, I am thinking of the spit glowing sweetly and me on it for successfully leading with my hips. When I am sitting, I am thinking of the hips that led and the split of them gushing crystal out. I am thinking hips first to lead a horse, so thirsty it can't think. Okay, this last piece is like in 3 parts. There's many more parts, but I'm just gonna give you 3. It's like titleless at the moment, but it's about water. I write about water a lot, like a lot of, like I live close to water and worried about water, and anyway, so on and so on. So and I grew up right where the thumb of Michigan, so where like Lake Huron like spills into the Lake St. Clair, or I'm sorry, the St. Clair River. So it's like this, it's an undertow that's very strong. It's like changing, it's like really moving here. Y'all can understand that. You're surrounded by water, you got a lot of rivers, whatever. A lot of, whatever. So you know how that kind of affects your thinking as you move on through your life or whatever. So it's like, it follows you. It's home. It's like, it's kind of on the ballistic horizon. We're all gonna have to pay for that shit if we don't already do that shit, whatever. It's a lot of front loading. Ready to go? Last one. You doing okay? You doing okay? Yeah, you? Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm glad. I was worried about you. Okay. Home. Home is where the hard-headed men park their trucks and flex their ominous laughter. Where the river mouth swallows the lake with so much force you'd never survive it. Across the water, you can go to the doctor without wondering if you'll lose your house. I'll never make it to any place that truly loves the tragic fumbling I offer, my body of warnings and explanations, edging the gas-choked throat, begging for the final swallow. I'll never survive it. Home is where it sends me. 2. I am tired of the poets and their making of worlds for themselves to hold their hope in. Worlds to have babies in, away from the floodplains by the power of mind. Diane says, we make our own reality. We have the power to change our believing system. And all I hear are thoughts and prayers and good vibes only, drowned by the rush of flash floods and unprecedented teen suicide rates. I am wondering what the kids think about the power of mind, knowing what they know about the oncoming water shortages and deluges. And I ask a new papa about how they feel about this, and they say my question is almost laughable, like the world isn't in constant crisis. They are over 40, and statistically this answer is as unaware and dismissive as one would expect. I am unsure how to respond. Eventually, I say something like, everything I am doing comes from love and concern, and the laughter goes through me and towards your little unaware one, for now. And for now, I will cry for them. 3. The rain everywhere. Across the planet is poisoned. Forever. So the article says. And a teenager in the Southwest has developed a neurosis around drinking a drop because he thinks if he stops consuming, there will be enough to go around, but this isn't the way it works. The golf courses are exempt, and we are delighted by concrete capping the holes in the swiftness of night, like a little inconvenience will set us back to default settings. Do you remember the meme with a little African boy looking skeptical in a grainy photo, and the text read something like, "You have so much clean water that you shit in it"? And we laughed, because for the time being, the answer was yes. Yes. We do. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Edie. Next up, we have Suzanne Rosenblatt, who writes, travels, journals, performs with the Earth poets and musicians, draws world drawings along Lake Michigan and moving dancers during rehearsals and performances, paints sunrises on the beach, does Tai Chi and yoga, dances whenever the opportunity arises, gardens organically, is an environmental and political activist, mother of 3, and grandmother of 10. Her books include Everyone is Going Somewhere, memorandums, shorelines, and I'm Glad My Eyes Beheld So Much, a journal. And illustrations in her daughter Sarah's book, Where Are We in This Story? On the waterbed they sank to their own levels, and Seasons Behind. Marla and I picked up Suzanne earlier, and I can attest that the garden is very beautiful. Please welcome Suzanne Rosenblatt.
Okay, well, I had to, since my computer wasn't working, everything I'm reading is in my own printed version. I have 3 poems that sort of blend into each other. What is X? When I first learned I had to lock down, stay home all day, all alone, I thought, oh, I'll turn on public radio, WUWM. I thought, it's like going to college all over again. Although, in a pandemic, I had no idea if or when it would end. Still, there's so much to learn when life takes a turn for the worse. Gotta make it an opportunity, not a curse. There's Radiolab, This American Life, On the Media, Reveal, programs to make the listeners feel more aware of the outside world while they're ensconced in their inside world. I love the program Hidden Brain, there to explain the brain's pathways, shed light on our biggest mystery, on the spot I'll never see. My ears hear the radio, my eyes see TV's world views and swamps of email, snail mail, social media, the latest news, while my hidden spot is figuring out what life is all about. Midst constant brain wave chatter, it has to decide which ripples matter. The hidden spot moves all day in an unexpected way. Each thought leads to the next, then the next, then X. Has the world changed for the better? Are people happier with all the innovation, misinformation, desperation, constant chaos, unending war? No cocoon of safety? What's it all for? Then X marks the spot, but what is X? Then I realize it is that mystery behind my eyes. It's the quests, the questions, the replies. I never know where the next thought will go. Global fleeing, scurrying, searching. Did we make a mistake? Was capitalism the wrong choice to make? Does it encourage competition, accumulation, greed with no limitation, instead of love, community, empathy, kindness? Something went astray to make the world such a mess. Capitalism, cap it all, ism, cap it all, but there is no cap at all. Racism, sexism, greed, need, everything's unequal, unequal, unequal. What in the world has happened to people? Pandemic, climate change, mass extinction, dictators, demagogues, insurrection, the global jigsaw of disasters fits together with perfection. what matters, what doesn't, what really was, what wasn't, what's the real cause of this or that problem. Once we know, do we solve them? Can we consolidate global energies of love and hate? Wait, I think I spotted a spot. I hope it's not too late. We should tax the rich on their assets instead of their income. That would amount to an incredible sum. Was this just a dream? Or Elizabeth Warren's taxing scheme? I just took it a step further. If the billionaires combine their worth, they'll see they're able to save the earth, to fund the range of steps to take, to conquer climate change and keep the globe awake. But is this a step they'd make? One step leads to the next, then X. Please stop sitting on your assets. My state of disunion address. Is disunion a word? Maybe I should call it dystopia. Maybe dystopic. This topic haunts me. Maybe that's why I want to write this poem. I wish I could write a comedy routine about the state of today's world, but it's not funny, and I'm not a comedian. Too bad. The world is more in need of an endless laugh than it ever was before. One clue to humor, though, is wordplay. Another is irony. And there's enough irony to make us bored with irony. But we're past the era of ironing boards, into the era of permanent press. And the press is more and more permanent, more omnipresent, especially on screens, less and less reliable in this era of confusion rather than Confucius. When people read their news on screens, play games on screens, every type of game the mind can devise, not seeming to realize the game most people play could be called facts or lies. When I try to visualize the world from a distance, I see a planet in chaos, covered with people fleeing from dictators, poverty, racism, war, climate change, often with no idea of where to go, where they can remain, like ants scurrying from an anthill when a human foot is about to land on it. I also see other species searching for a new habitat when climate change has made their part of the world uninhabitable. They run into unfamiliar creatures, including humans, come into close contact with them, sometimes transmit viruses. Viruses are getting stronger as the rest of Earth's creatures struggle to survive. Innovating scientists didn't try to save us from the unpredicted downside of the unrestricted worldwide use of screens, the addiction to games, addiction to lies that allow grandiose dictators to live out their dreams. Too many humans remain unseeing, don't notice we're each a mere human being. Instead of appreciating the oneness of humanity, they succumb to social media as words, images, tragedies, lies fly instantaneously across the globe, or to the house next door. What's it all for? What did the science fiction writers foresee? The birth of autocracies, the death of democracies, the creation of a brave new world, of 1984, of Animal Farm, Big Brother, and I'm sure much more. What did innovators have in mind? Was it mainly the bottom line? And now, what can save the world? A global game of truth or consequences might help some people to come to their senses. Certainly, we need global unification, participation by every nation, global participation of those with monstrous cash accumulation. Until then, we inhale our atmosphere with atmosphere. What toxin are in our air when every emission hangs out there? Soot, smoke, carbon, cow farts, pesticide spray. How can we make the poisons go away? They enter all nostrils, sink into the earth, into the world's water, raise havoc in ways we had never thought of. We make drones, missiles, rifles, bombs, pistols. Is the world a better place, in a better state, because they proliferate? We make laptops, cell phones, endless devices that addict us, that dumb us down. Is the world a better place because they abound? And now we have very little time to combine a world of opposing minds to redefine human life's design, to reposition endless acquisition into the garbage can, to somehow get rid of drastic competition and the greediness of man, to think about what really matters in life: family, friends, love, kindness, empathy, equality for all, and how to use our resources not to fight wars, not to save egos, but to save our planet. So Trumpeters, get used to it. You got to admit you're petting a mad dog. I know many of you fear to flee the pack, afraid the mad dog would bite you back. But I'm hoping soon you'll realize you should never linger near the spot where a mad dog lies. Okay, this is the last one. Musk must forget Mars. Elon Musk, why did you buy Twitter? I'd hope you'd use the worldwide platform to escape hate and lies, to help reality arise, to make humans recognize that as Earth's stewards, we're the climate changers. For every inhabitant, we've created endless dangers. Mr. Musk, your name is becoming familiar to me, yet stranger. The only other Musks I can think of are musk ox and muskmelon. And then I realized that if you remove the middle M in the middle of muskmelon, you get Musk Elon. Elon Musk, who are you? Reverse the E-L in Elon, and you're Leon. Replace Leon's E with an I, and you're lying. Is that the I ego represents? Yes, but not the why. Why would you want to be the richest man in the world? What does that say about you? What do you do with the dough? Do you know where it will go? Do you know what it's for? Is it just to accumulate more and more? Elon, Leon, lion, and on. Did you buy Twitter to return platforms to the world's most dangerous liars? To reinstate the racists, the haters, the self-haters? Are all of you trying to fill holes in your inner selves? Were you born or grown with no sense of self? Born bored, grown groaning? What was missing? Was it wealth? Was it no loving fathers or mothers? No power over others? Or no thoughtful analysis? Just mental paralysis? To whom are you trying to prove your worth? To prove you deserve your space on Earth? What do you tweet, Mr. Musk? Will you fiddle with your empty soul as feral forests burn? Will you become another Nero? Or can you take a drastic turn? Turn your Twitter platform into a climate change clock, TikTok, to discuss daily the devastation worldwide, the resulting fatalities on every side. TikTok, instead of a Nero, you could become a hero. You could save the world. Do you have the get up and go? You bought the perfect setup. Wake up and organize. You've got that setup right before your eyes. If the richest 3% of people on Earth own half the world's resources, you can form your own Twitter summit. Earth has already begun to plummet, but maybe it's not yet time for Earth's demise. You and the other billionaires should have enough assets to fund whatever needs to be done. Work with Earth's finest climate scientists who are already devoting themselves to saving the life on the planet. Elon, Leon, lion. Don't lie on and on and on. You must deliver the truth. Skip the lies. Keep in mind that your riches become useless if Earth becomes so ruthless that no life survives. Gaze at the planets, marvel at the stars, save our planet, and forget about Mars. Thank you.
Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce Bryon Cherry, who is a poet and musician. His work has been featured in Return to the Gathering Place of the Waters Anthology, as well as in South Florida Poetry Journal. In 2021, he was named as an emerging poet in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by St. John's on the Lake. Born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he is of and shaped by his evolving home city. He is guided by what he considers to be magical forces, listening and love. Please welcome Bryon Cherry.
Could you help me move this up a little bit? That's good. Perfect. Hello, everybody. That's booming. I'm Bryon Cherry. I'm from a great town on the Great Lake, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. These are some poems. I'm going to start with some newer stuff and work back into my book, Death Moan. Northeast kitchen window. The northeast kitchen window is open. The wind is sharp, ornate, Ornette Coleman, saxophonic, symphonic, silhouettes cascading through. The word is grievance, as it astutely breaks down into pure grief. Too soon to be a state of statistical slandering, found on a vacant laugh. Too often draped in an identity, daft connotations, sun-spun sunshine, our heroic figurine. Volumetric bourbons, chattel, glimpses of hate, declaring spaces as days. A sea revision, timber of a violent rain pang, as delusions meet you, him, her, in future. Thank you. Like I said, these are some newer things. This is called It Is Science. Silent but violent, the grass grows from blood. Pillagers profiteering, loudest mouth a staggered drip with a beggar's lilt. Houston, what if the problem is me? Coarse yet smooth, the accredited acceleration accumulation accumulates, like the wrapping of a futile tourniquet. The sacred gun turret turns and explodes through to the freedom kind. Has God's plan chosen me to be the freedom kind? To rake coals, to sometimes have coals raked over me, to do it all in joy. For the truth is that every person, even me with my self-conceptions, my oblong obligations, algorithmic messianic complications, even I am just a cluttered collection of curated star matter, the vast majority of which will never know that a Bryon Cherry even existed. So it's a beautiful evening out here. I want to thank Woodland Pattern for having me. It's a special place in my heart for Woodland Pattern. It's called Lynchpin, with a line from the legendary Roots Crew. A man drags me in a cotton sack. I can tell the ropes that will hold my casket will break. Bacteria in my flora gut now flourishing off my flesh, merely to face the first to taste me to bone. Strangulation, gunpowder moon, corrigible mind quickens, past elongated, cursive, corrosion-laden lyrical memory, locomotives. Even stranger, these memories seem to whip back and forth like Willow Smith's teenage hair, thousands of times, like the secrets of flowers which will never know bloom. Will I ever know that I am death, that in a way, always death? I can midnight my being now, as all of the known constellations, gesticulations, and varied states of what the human call undress. As they created me, as I zip back to last breath, as I flood flaccidly into a never-coming future. So I write a lot about gun violence. This is a poem about what happened in Colorado a few years ago. It's called It's Monday in America Again. Language is a crop of subsistence farming. That is, it tends to be inadequate for the radical lifting now visibly necessary, as we vow solemnly to silently break one another. Sounds of violence speak bodies translation, split-second barrage, marches mourning mountains, storm clusters, clustering invasive, pervasive pageantries, hell-bent on silent tones, thirst, ate hunger, death encapsulated and hanging out in activities we must do to survive, all the invisible phenomenon harangue humans, patronage, scars, wounds, bullets, happenstance, anger, food strewn, blistering, bullets, bodies like frozen ballet. A grain of this is war pervades. Again, the ajar crucible seems suitable. It happened again, after it has happened again, again. And these are finish up by just reading a few poems from Death Moan. It's out on Willow Books out of Detroit. So. This is called You're Gonna Make It After All. Shoe store is burning. I'm flexing out front. This convenient circus crawls. It lets them keep cozy gentrification chimera perch. Minnesota nice upside your head. Always heard you ain't gotta be scared to get your ass kicked. I am the reverent friction of the ghost. The one who convinced me to burn, the one chained to my clammy comfort. My skin is apocalyptic. My skin is war helicopters over protest cities. Apparitions do not fear, they do the scaring. Apparitions systematically pop and lock to the rockets' red ass glare. Thank you. This is about capitalism. I sense a theme in the reading tonight. It's called Eat Everything. The siege starts without warning. Everyone eating everything. Grim progression of gyrating plates. You know the street's dead, but it ain't stopped the killing. Merchant mercenaries hot for an investment. Like it was said, something is decapitated. It ain't like its head was ever in the right place, though. It's filthy rich out here beyond the surface. It's belly full of justification and an arch denialism. Coltrane beaming Alabama from the implications. Never knew enough to make it. Tripped up on the sour vine floor. Heaven, you and I got a problem. Heaven, intercede or fully join the riot. This poem is about Eric Gardner. The prophecy must be concealed. Like a street brawl not in a film, we lack strong backbeat, an icon drug on loan predicting a specific heat. A heaven made of exits, please put the money in my hand slow, like a pocket full of Lucy's illicit sold. We lack space to breathe, one handshake, one chokehold to another, this where we dream sleep in sleep. Rotations around mechanically stoked fire, grinding spin, the machinations of plates. What reanimates this perilous plane are horny ghost prophets. What to make of the ambiguous invectives, the ambient lighting, the rage of gods. A pocket knife suddenly sticks like hitting dice, and all the tender folks can't stop laughing. Oh, thank you. I don't read this one very often, so I'm going to give it a shot. This is called Because the Sky is Blue. Lipstick disaster, processions of possessions, marked up like Bano bloated prophecies in this ochre cemetery century. They say it is all fractals and they pose problems to be solved and resurrect aims to be surrendered and annexed as the axes begin to take grind, gritted teeth attached to despair skulls, cathedral cranial compartments where electricity is crystallized, submitted into reality as it has been constructed, construed by others, many of whom have already sought refuge in death. In leaving cardboard cutout confusion. It seems especially hot in here where they call it mania. Pretenses and golden pistons suspended in spring's shivery air as it is soldiering solemnly through the environment to touch that which has no choice but to come. Call it summer, to this hell of an invisible, inevitable mission that this enigma has been on, dining on hearts, but first placing them in dominant fists toward sky, emblazoned with entranced eyes. And to think it all takes place at no additional cost to the believer. Thank you. Untitled 108. Dig a shallow grave, swallow and baptize there. the press of God shrapnel from the sky, harvesting the earth, its inhabitants. Device operating as you kneel, decide which filter will make this moment the truest. Her head is a tomb, the water so blue, unconscious place strengthening legs for the long journey ahead. This is a poem for my best friend in the entire world. It's called Everything Means Nothing to Me after Elliott Smith. She says death and weed and long ago hurts and how they're still battering and newer reasons to be aggrieved, like a boring, repetitive job. Both parents dead, a complicated longing, like some man inappropriately touching her, like there is a God trapped inside itself. Talks of not knowing how to breathe in darkness, light being just a refracting, fomenting agent. She says she would not do death to herself, says she has no goals, fuck having goals. She speaks of death as a means to cohere these stone trinkets she carries that have no intention, no means for coherence. So a lot of this book is pretty heavy. It's called Death Moan, obviously. So, but this is what my mentor, Derek Harrell, would call giving them the glove after you've given them the fist, you know. This is about my daughter. For the edification of my daughter. Human it survives in small blossoms, reticent elegy, all wound up in expectations and endings. Quivering bow to continual cello strings, ineffable remains of a charred yet defiant translucent universe. A vessel on the confluence of never connecting confluence, core cloud cluster of iridescent stars which have not been reduced in her somatic cloth. Cries out like wolves who have placed oracles in stone bellies, existence belying the false natures, holding on always like double knots, banded across the expanse until it is time to let go. This is like a cracked sonnet. Maybe it's an American sonnet, who knows? It's called On the 32nd State in 2020. Stars are vague tonight. Many mother portals open. Wild tongues reach for high flames. Thelonious Monk plays brilliant corners on a zephyr. The people lock arms. The ritual calls for blood. Blood where the meaning of blessing is derived. Blessed mother words. Halogen halo streetlights insist. Halo halogen light street fight the dark. Tattered strands of legitimate conclusions. Culminations of deified violence. Cataclysmic, shifting bedrock. So this is something that really happened. It's been happening more often because of the smoke and stuff. But the moon's been like blood red a bunch of times. And this was like the first time it happened from the fires out west or whatever. So this is called On a Boat, July 23rd, 2021. You will foresee the moon in burst blood. Then you will see the moon in full blood bloom. You will understand the gloom, yet you will still have no way to adjust crimson sadness. You will birth thoughts and pine for the way it never was for us humans. Those revelers on the party boat will not will themselves to see that the pregnant red orb is due to raging wildfires thousands of miles to the west. The earth is death. It would feel good to say that out loud on a party boat where the band is playing, on a party boat where no one is listening to you. It will be beautiful. It will be beautiful. I've got one more. This is the last poem in the book, appropriately titled Good Ass Intro. It's after Chance the Rapper. I've obtained a heart like a rock, a stop, drop, hatchet rocket. Glare on red, and it is at the bottom of the deepest sea. I am a muted symphony, all kinds of resonance deferred, a signal from marbled maze noise. The hum of extant ecstasy trembles in death steps. The battle hymn of the beset republic, the lynchings, the broken land promises, the abject fear, the heart-wrenching notion that perhaps this can be better. Those also very human tillers that have/are tending to these bloody beatific acres so that it could someday perhaps perish and thusly be reseeded upon new entangled collage collisions in a fashion that could only be thought of as the only comic tragic culmination, where closure shows itself to be a smirking plateau on the way toward apparition, artifice, acclivity. Thank you guys so much.
Can we have the next Poetry in the Park be on a party boat? Okay. And lastly, we have Ish Klein, whose latest books of poems is called The New Sun Time. Her poems and plays have appeared in the journal What Happens, Oversound, Gare du Nord, Versal, and the Cambridge Library Review. Stay tuned for Ish. Ish is now developing a Michigan-based Poets Theatre Anthology Poets Theatre, which will debut the podcast Wrestling with Poetry in summer of 2023. Please welcome Ish Klein.
Thank you. I feel so proud to be here with Suzanne and Edie and Bryon. I think I got it. Thanks, Mike and Antonio. Well, I think the trick is to stay one step ahead of death. That's my goal. This poem is called, for the moment, it's called War Cry in the Warhammer Universe. War Cry is a game, and the Warhammer universe is a big plastic universe of death. Tell me this too loud. War Cry in the Warhammer universe. The men are coming, they are getting out of bed. I am a man, I am a man, I am him. Of elimination versus will transferred, fighting, the living is its complication. The gold medal that I got for my combat, I cannot buy a house with this medal. That is what she said, that is why she was left to be weak in figure, left, solo, dog. War cry, the people, war cry, the people. Ever the tasteless fellow, what's his health like? And that guy, and the dog, and the blind wizard. Where do we get girls? We need them for our shapes. Like when we put in the ornate frame, you see. Ulfgard is so great, the hair, the skin, the head, and how he can detach a skull from its neck. This skull to top a machine made of locusts. I saw it in a dream. He made it happen. Trust me, they all fell before his eminence. Dolls on the floor, figures always weathering. This is called Were You Headed for Witch Mountain? As you may know, Witch Mountain is a movie, a Disney movie about extraordinary children with psychic powers. But that's always sort of coming up again, this problem. Were you headed, the problem isn't the psychic powers, the problem is people taking the problem is, yeah. All right, the problem is a human being treated like a battery, I guess. Were you heading for Witch Mountain? They told you it was Witch Mountain, but it was a nuclear facility. They told you would meet your long-lost parents there, but it was a few gurneys, headbands, etc. Who let them drill into a mountain? A real mountain. They told you Witch Mountain. You remember the ad for Witch Mountain, the movie. The children were articulate in the movie. Picture a gold medal. Later they mention the beauty of the onion domes. Everyone has gone home, but they are still repeating thoughts around the atmosphere of Witch Mountain. 1976 becomes 1986. In 2019, 1986 became the first year. 1986 overtakes 2019, which is 4 years so far. What do we do in Witch Mountain other than ruin the gurney? Why are the witches so easily disgusted in 2019, which is now lasting 5 years? They are blinded by their own self-control. It's the limited sympathy for you, animals and vegetation, us. U is hard to ignore, and 2 is wave-like in nature. Subordinate witches must not have you. I would like each to have you, for I agree with Bach's premise of you as obscenity, and obscenity is necessary so we can relax. Let's dress them with obscenity so that they feel it for themselves. Let them be bound like us, but unlike us, they'll be gently rocked. Let them be rocked ahead of their feelings, for radiant sense of the you. Attention, desire, and trespass. Who can say what happened here, our happening here, our passing over, and they were our past, a masked blast at the beginning of our time. Faces we put on the forces. Had we always been in the young grass, the faces in the grass, the importance of the grass, the lovely theater in this mountain of radiation? Edie, I feel for you when you broke your tooth, and I do hope that it gets restored, because that's no joke. You gotta keep your teeth for as long as you possibly can. Oh, well, that's what they said. Anyway, sorry, keep breathing into this. Okay, our valuable selves. It happens. Dry land. The member's failure. It won't work at all now. This member may be the only flesh thing that's not $56,000 low. One won't borrow money on it because one doesn't think it through or ask Ben Stein. Had one known, one would have borrowed 10 grand against it, minimum, bare minimum. A pelvic belt cinched tighter now, less breath. What third went back to the land? What third rose? What's this on the walls? Ochre or less? A green space on top of a dry cleaner. One hopes it will grow. Members and seed teeth. Children are reborn without enough teeth, for when they lose their mind, they'll need some teeth to take down the meat, the temperature, the recipe. Common science says one can't sink in heat. Get into the water, wait for that fish, the savior fish who fertilizes folks they will never meet. And underwater, who'll do the commercial for this fish now? Who'll eat without glamorizing eating? Fish who ate the last humans who had been washed away in the large waves of the risen sea. Sometimes you think that every John is all Johns, and this is a poem about that. John has got to control this dodge. Ted is sensitive to tension. Emily turns on the alarm. Faye spilled coffee on the Atlas. It belonged to Michael and Sean, who paid full price for it last year. Dell is back. Bing's in luck. Get him, Ted. That's a joke. Ted don't get men. Layla's arrived expecting food. She's new to the consortium. George in the shadows and his fans, they'll never let him go. It's sad, said Fred. People say he's morbid, specifically Harriet's. These bobs are the sound of Canton, sideways moving, the surface unscratched. Carl's around his family. His brother's named Pete, one first named, another is middle named. Old Pete can't impose a Pete last name to be Pete. Senior Pete, that is. He showers every other day. Amelia is in class now. Photos of nearby turf and reeds. Repetition of grass angles, shafts. Data lost to the bright light. This is called This Sand Our Spaceship, and it is a projection of life beyond one's human form. And I thought that I would do that so that I had a place to go in the future. This is called This Sand Our Spaceship. This sand our, and it's not that I am against any of this. I wish to cherish my time with humans. I don't know how long, we never know how long we have, right? That's so thank you for making this happen, guys. I mean, this sand our spaceship. This sand our spaceship and how ran down, robot ID'd, vegetable stripped from flesh, sinking into one tone, light unenfolds, motion to remember this and start new. Heavenly friend, don't leave me when I think, Speculation is just a sympathy, acting out theoretically, blind to certain feelings, so one tries projections. Hot blood near the head, cold heart in the bed, prior proverb of the circulations, planet of menstrual blood, a spaceship of living, the living part of which is the transit of iron moving into animal, mediated by the vegetable. Oh, the station wagons entrusted to us. The joy of the altering, remove their fluid, bury them halfway in the Mojave sand. If they have luck, the primrose will prefer their absences. A glove box, a cup holder, the hatchback. Well, coming to the home stretch. I got 2 poems left, and I'm very grateful for your attention. This is called Tulips in the AM When They Are Calm. Tulips in the AM when they are calm. Bernard's tulip, yellow 101. When I see them, I try to relax. Bernard Cherry's tulip, 97, smart. I, on the other hand, get nervous. Bernard's daughter's tulip, red, 81. They're caterpillars. Ethlyn's grandsons, daffodils, 32. What's good for them is not good for us, right? The tulip who owns Michael, 43. We're continuous. Here's where I lose it. When they idle the cars when I need air. Jazz tulip outside the bar, 1 year old. That must be why we don't grow much. Bernard's tulip, yellow 101. Has anyone been messing with you kids? Jazz tulips outside the bar, 1 year old. Generally just slugs. Thanks for caring, Pops. Bernard's tulip, yellow 101. Nothing wrong with caring. I'm not ashamed. And yes, slugs are an issue. Damn the slug. Bernard Cherry's tulip, 97. I would think they'd be afraid of the beer. Jazz tulips outside the bar, 1 year old. Young slugs do not know anything. What's beer? The tulip who owns Michael, 43. With beer, we are continuous, sort of. Bernard Cherry's tulip, 97. Yes, and the dark. One would pity beer. Jazz tulips outside the bar, 1 year old. The sun at the edges, may it reach them. Bernard's tulip, yellow 101. I want the last from words. Me, sun. Finally, this poem is a response to Raul Zurita's poem, The Sea. Raul Zurita is a Chilean poet. He wrote a poem called The Sea, where he is imagining the dead, disappeared people being thrown into the sea. And that is so troubling. It's so troubling that you will lose somebody, that your friend will be your loved one, or somebody that you would love would be thrown into the sea. So I had to, I felt I had a need to write this as a reverse. Figures and the sea, mist and foam. Imagine red in the static. Feel the soles of your feet. I am nobody too. Nobody's talk. When red can say, I see red, then it is natural for red eyes to flutter open. Red is pain, among other things. It's not much to earn a spot here. Orange warmth, except when it's cheese. Animating force. Did you wash your feet? Orange funk, nails, ridges. No, your eyes there. Orange finding the right spot on the rope, which spans recurrent and turbulent seas. I guess I better help. Hold these eyes. The search for yellow. PP. One cannot control one's body every single time. Hi, devil. The sea. In the sea. You can pee all day. No meaning. I am losing you. Again, for I am without weight. Therefore, I hold a rope today. The light takes colors in the spray. Which one are you among, my friend? Close your eyes. I am in the dark with you, and who told of you? There is no use holding it in. I'll begin again. Yellow is a little important. Goldenrod that Hayden and his partner watched as its field opened each night. Sight, communion, to time your turn. Buttercup, a color of food. How to eat without hands, feet, face. button your eyes and severely. You're not merely clothes on a clothesline, you know, even if they are nice. Getting to land is going to be a coordinated effort of time. Simulations in Antarctica tell us so. The tense, the careful timing, like the vitamins necessary to make a mark in Antarctican snow. The monsters pursue. Here is how to overcome enemies. Take them, lick them, then excrete them until no enemy remains. This is the wall of the color green. The green blade is the beginning. It is morning. We're moved by sun. It's raining. We're in the high sea. Is anything more important than what in darkness chooses to be perceived? Green transit, green trans to blue, sky flower, blue flower, sky. The electrons organize to hold your face in their two hands, and the rope you hold. Can it be a vine? And the cold sea water rushing over you, can that be what determines your ideal shape? The water can't take all of you, the home zone requires. You were deeper inside, not lost, an open eye, a volcano. The past was being ash with you, and now see this blue flower, this green stem, the shy eyes of amber flowers. Finally the cord breaks, a base, a cone awaits. Indigo, I died, my eyes were closed. Alive, my eyes are open. Rise, vast seas, mimulus ocean, rose ocean. Finally the violets. Oh, most dear faces and voices. I have waited so long to be like this, alive with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone that read and everyone that listened. Please stop by next month for the last Poetry in the Park, September 12th at 6:30, again featuring Mark Leidner, Chelsea Tedeschi, Francesca Kritikos, and myself. Stop by the book table, get some books, stop by Woodland Pattern, buy Bryan's book, stop by Woodland Pattern for the open mic on the 25th. Thank you.